I'm still not sure why we thought it was a good idea to spend the night in the old Crestmere mansion. It was just supposed to be a dare, a stupid way to pass the night and maybe scare ourselves a little. But what happened to us inside? I'll never be able to forget it. It was the last Friday before summer break. There were 5 of us: me, Aaron, Lily, Danny, and Rose. We'd heard all the rumors about Crestmere, that it was haunted by the spirit of its last owner, a recluse who died there under mysterious circumstances. The locals said anyone who went in after dark never came back out. Of course, we thought it was all just ghost stories. The mansion was worse than we expected. It loomed at the end of a long gravel driveway, surrounded by overgrown trees that twisted toward the sky like claws. Its windows were shattered, leaving hollow eye-like openings in the stone, and ivy crept up the crumbling walls like fingers. The front door was barely hanging onto its hinges, creaking as we stepped inside. The air was cold, stale, as if the place had been sealed shut for centuries. Every shadow seemed darker, every corner more sinister. At first, we tried to keep things light. Danny and Rose were teasing each other, trying to make jokes to shake off the unease. But as we moved deeper into the mansion, something started to change. The laughter faded, replaced by a silence that wrapped around us like a shroud. We explored room after room, all dusty and decayed. Then we found the ballroom, and that's where things started to go wrong. In the dim light of our flashlights, the ballroom was eerie, with a massive chandelier above us, its crystals coated in years of dust. The mirrors along the walls were cracked, distorting our reflections in strange ways. Aaron suggested we play hide and seek. Maybe it would take the edge off. He counted to 10 while we all ran off into different corners of the house. I found a hiding spot in what must have been the old library. Dust-covered books lined the shelves, and a massive fireplace took up most of one wall. As I crouched in the shadows, I heard a faint rustling sound behind me. I whipped around, but there was nothing there. I figured it was just my nerves. But then, I saw it. A shadow moved. No, not moved. It slithered, slowly detaching from the wall and taking on an almost human shape. Panicking, I bolted out of the room, calling for the others. I ran into Lily in the hallway, her face pale. She'd seen something too. Something in the kitchen that looked like a dark, twisted version of herself. She said it was watching her from the reflection of an old metal pot, its hollow eyes grinning back at her. Our flashlights flickered, casting frantic beams around the hallway, but everything was still. For a moment, we thought we were just seeing things, maybe scaring ourselves. But then we heard Danny scream from somewhere upstairs. It was a terrible, strangled sound that cut off abruptly. Aaron took off running toward the staircase, yelling Danny's name. But as he reached the top step, his flashlight went out. In the beam of my light, I could see him frozen, staring down the dark hallway. His mouth opened in a silent scream as something reached out from the shadows, pulling him into the darkness. Lily and I backed away slowly, too terrified to move or breathe. Rose appeared next to us, her face wet with tears, whispering that she saw herself in one of the cracked mirrors, but with something horribly wrong in its eyes, like it was hungry, waiting for her. We turned to run, but realized we were trapped. The hallways had somehow changed, leading us in circles, and no matter where we went, the shadows seemed to close in, twisting into figures that moved and breathed. They stalked us, their faces featureless, yet somehow filled with hatred. One by one, they picked us off. First Rose, whose scream echoed through the mansion, followed by a horrible silence. Lily and I were the last ones left. We tried to hold on to each other, but she was ripped away from me, her face frozen in terror as a shadow dragged her into the darkness. I don't know how I made it out. One moment, I was in the hallway, clutching my flashlight as the shadows closed in, and the next, I was outside, standing alone at the front gate as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon. My clothes were torn, and my hands were scratched and bloodied, but I was alive. People didn't believe me, of course. They think it's just a story, a figment of my imagination. But every time I close my eyes, I see their faces, twisted, terrified, reaching out to me from the shadows. And I swear, sometimes I see something in the corner of my eye, a dark figure just waiting, biding its time until I return. I'll never go back to Crestmere. Not after what happened that night. But sometimes in the middle of the night, I can feel it calling to me. Like the mansion isn't done with me yet.
Thanks for joining us in the shadows tonight. If you enjoyed these chilling tales, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories every week. Have you got a story of your own? Share it in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And remember, the darkness holds many secrets. Are you brave enough to uncover them? Until next time, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Sweet nightmares.